Hey everybody, welcome back to Team Brothership. I'm doing something a little bit different today. I got some new recording equipment that I wanted to test out, and I thought, what better way to do it than by doing a Let's Play of one of my favorite games, which is Final Fantasy III. As you can tell, there are no Paul or John around today. I'm just doing this by myself. I'm sitting at home on my couch, just testing out some recording equipment. I thought, what the hell? Let's fire it up. So, so let's get into it and see what we've got. For those of you who don't know, Final Fantasy III is really Final Fantasy VI. We just didn't get most of them in the US until Final Fantasy VI, really, until this game. We've gotten pretty much every other Final Fantasy since then. Certainly all the numbered ones and most of the spin-offs, too. I really doubt that I'm going to have anything particularly insightful or exciting to say about this game that hasn't been said in thousands of other internet videos and think pieces. But hey, I just thought we'll just have a real chill run through this game. Like I said, it's one of my favorites. I know it very well. I've beaten it probably several dozen times. So while I may not have anything necessarily new to say, I can certainly speak to most of its intricacies. I realize we've just been talking over the intro, but I'm sure you got the gist of things. Yeah, I'm not planning on reading out all of the dialogue here, because we're all adults and can read on our own, unless we're not adults, in which case, hey, keep at it, you'll get there. So this is the beginning of the game where you start out as these three jokers, Vix and Wedge. Vix being a mistranslation of Biggs. That's a Star Wars reference. It's Luke's two buddies from the end of A New Hope. They show up in most of the other games in some capacity or another, along with this mysterious girl who kind of ends up being our protagonist. Spoiler. I'm not going to read the text, but I'll leave it on screen for those of you to read. So yeah, we're these three fellows, and we are attacking a town to steal their frozen magic beast. I'll comment a little bit in a second, but I wanted to show. This I always thought is a super cool little effect. I mean, obviously nowadays when we have photorealistic graphics and, you can see people's pores on their skin. If you zoom in the camera enough, this might not look like much, but first playing it as I think I was probably like 12 or 13 when this game came out. This was pretty cool. Just getting this somber credits as these three big hulking robotic things march towards the horizon. Honestly, I was never a huge fan of Mode 7. It does feel a little gimmicky, but in this particular instance, it's kind of a cool effect with the background slowly inching up and the snow coming down. It does give you a little bit of a impression that you're somberly marching towards what lay ahead. Me speak good. So what I was going to say, I'm playing this on the SNES Mini. I debated a few other different ways of doing it, but it's easier with my recording setup to do it this way. So the version, you can see now in the background, there's the lights from the town ahead. Those poor bastards, they don't know what's coming. I'm pretty sure the version on the SNES Mini is the same one that was the cartridge release for the Super Nintendo, which is fine. I know a lot of people prefer that version. There have been a few different ports and re-releases of this game. It is unfortunately one of those games that there's not really an ideal version, because later ones did fix certain things. Well, Wedge makes a reference about having Mystery Girl take points so they're not at risk. Oops. Tried to leave. There are some RPGs where whoever is at the head of the party does take more of the attacks. I don't actually think Final Fantasy III, I'm sorry, is one of those. I've been playing Dragon Quest III recently, in which that is absolutely true. Whoever's in front will take the brunt of the damage, but I don't believe that's the case here. Uh-oh. Oh, he's sending his dog to attack our giant robots. I'm sure that'll be effective. So they kind of start. It kind of starts out a little weird in this game because you're not really attacking or doing much of anything. Cheese it. You're using the Magitech guns that you have. Oh, geez, here they come. Which isn't really like anything else that you have in the rest of the game. So it doesn't really set you up well for understanding what's going on. But yeah, I mean, at this point, you're pretty wildly overpowered to be taking out these guys. They can do a little bit of damage, but you're going to mostly just smoke them. Oh, gained a level. Good job, team. So what I was saying, this version, later versions fixed some of the glitches and added in some extra content. I think the PlayStation version was the first re-release. They ported this to the PlayStation, and it's a pretty decent port, except for it did introduce some load times, which I know a lot of people are not fans of. Then there was a later Game Boy Advance port, which there was no load times, and they actually added some cool stuff. They added a few extra... They actually added some They added an extra dungeon and a few extra of the summonable espers that you can use and that you can learn magic from. So there's even a few extra spells in that game, which I think is pretty cool. But being a Game Boy Advance game, the sound definitely took a hit, which is a shame because this game has some pretty awesome music and sound effects. So is Terra not gaining any levels? Oh, she was already a few levels higher. Yeah, you can see... Okay, so they're kind of teaching you a little bit about battles, because now you're in a pincer attack, in which enemies attack from both sides. I do like how there was 2 dogs and 2 dudes that just attacked us, but there's only 1 dog in this scene, so as far as we know, one of those dogs was like, no, I'm not going to be attacking robots today. I am out of here. I'm going to survive. I gotta live. For my family. My kids need me. Assuming he or she has children. So yeah, you take extra damage if you're in a pincer attack. Oh, there's a level for Terra. So it says question, but her name, canonical name, at least in the US release, is Terra. So that's what I'm going to be calling her. Yeah, we can jump in here. So she actually is a little bit... These guys... Oops. Yeah, they don't have anything, but Terra actually has some magic. Which... She's got 2 spells, Cure and Fire. But right now, the Magitech weaponry is a lot better. Now they're sicking monsters on us. So I'm actually going to kill a couple of these guys, and then I'm going to take a minute to heal everybody. Because one neat thing about the riding Magitech armor is that it has a built-in no MP heal spell. So that's what I'm going to do. Use some heal force on the team. Get everybody back up to scrapping shape. So yeah, like I was saying, the Game Boy Advance port has some unfortunately degraded sound. It's not terrible. I mean, you still get most of the music, but if you're used to the tunes from the Super Nintendo version, it is a little bit of a letdown. It still took some damage anyways. Yeah, this is Terra's power move, the Tech Missile. The other two don't have that. For whatever reason, they gave their brainwashed individual access to the more powerful weaponry. That makes sense. So you'd think then that this would kind of be the ideal version, the Super Nintendo port. Maybe this one. There's dozens of mines littering this hillside, and we're just going to search them all. Well, thankfully these two are quite lucky. Well, not really. This is the correct mine shaft. But yeah, so you would think that this would be the ideal version then. But as with many of Square's earlier games... look at that sparkly. It's a save point. No, that's okay. I know what a save point does. There we go. I will be saving regularly. I hate getting killed by accident in games and losing. Oh, yeah, that's right. Now I can actually get attacked by not just the scripted encounters, but there's actually, like, dudes that will come after me in the mine here. So yeah, you would think that this would be the perfect version then, but as with many of Square's earlier games, the programming was a little janky in places, and there's like glitches so that certain stats don't work correctly. I think the big one is like the evade stat actually does nothing in this game, which is too bad. It renders a few kind of cool items functionally useless. So I have a hard time, even though I do have the Super Nintendo cartridge and I have this on the Mini, I have a hard time going back to the original version because I miss having those items actually function the way that they're supposed to. But it's easier to record with this one, so we'll be doing this. All right. Look out, everybody. Gonna break it down. Alright, and right up ahead... yeah, this guy's pissed. And this is... Welk. This is our first boss battle. And as with most Final Fantasy... early Final Fantasy games, this is kind of a gimmick tutorial battle. These guys are talking about monster that eats lightning and craps thunder. It's Rocky. So this guy kind of has a gimmick. He's actually, it looks like one dude, but there's actually two enemies here. The head and the shell. And as Vix is saying, don't attack the shell. As long as you're landing blows on the head, they count. If you hit the shell, it basically does no permanent damage, and he has a very nasty counterattack. And we get in about one round of combat before he retreats into his shell. I think he's going to retreat now. Yeah, there we go. He just makes his little sound first. So you don't want to have queued up moves because then they'll go off and they'll just hit the shell and you'll face the counterattack. It's tough to get killed in this fight, but you can get messed up pretty good if you goof up. And so we just sit here and wait for him to come back. It's pretty similar to Final Fantasy VII, had essentially the same thing. there's the, is it that robot with the tail? Bolt Beam just does a little bit more damage, even though it says that he... I'm going to risk it. I'm going to try to do another Tech Missile. We'll see how that goes. Oh, I killed him anyway. Never mind. Yeah, the Scorpion robot in Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy V, I think, was the same way. Oh, yeah. 5 had the Griffin with the wind attack when his feathers were shielding him, and 4 had the... Oh, I totally forgot about 4. 4 had the Mist Dragon, which was, yeah, the same thing. When it was in mist form, if you had Cecil or Kane attack him, you'd get a spray back that would deal some decent damage. But doesn't matter. Welk's dead. We progress onwards. Wow, you guys sure can pick them. There it is. You went into one mine shaft and you got there. Yeah, it's the Frozen Espur. It's kind of hard to see in the sprite, but it's kind of like a feathered dragon-looking thing. This is one of their little side view cutscene things that they do every once in a while to be cinematic, I guess. This was also the first Final Fantasy where the field sprites and the battle sprites were identical. In the earlier ones, you'd have these little squat turd-looking guys that got a lot bigger during the actual fighting, but this game uses mostly the same sprites in that regard. Oh no! Wedge, my best friend. So, yeah, I mean, as far as I know, they're dead. I don't know quite what happened. But, like I said, they show up in other games, so I always kind of in my headcanon had this idea that Wedge and Vix got teleported into another game. They show up in Chrono Trigger, which came out after this game, so I always figured they got teleported to the Millennial Fair. Whoops, everything's exploding. Which is kind of a cheery thing to think about. They were in this awful ice cave fighting monsters and answering to the commands of... Oh, that's right, I'm in control again. Nope, not getting out of bed. I'm tired. I don't want to talk to you, miss. Oh, fine. So, old man. Although, it's kind of hard to tell from the sprite. So, this old guy fished Terra out of the mine. What a generous soul. So this little black screen. Every time you get one of the permanent playable characters, you get one of these little screens where they give you their synopsis. And you get to name them. So she is canonically Terra. That's the name I'm going to be leaving her with. Oh, dogs are ratting me out. Yep, just a minute. Oh no, I forgot. Every clock, oh, just about every clock in the game has an elixir in it, which are very rare, very useful items. I forgot that the Super Nintendo version doesn't have the auto dash either, so gonna be some slow trudging through the game. Now, the old man's gonna sacrifice himself to fight the guards while we sneak away. Although it looks like from here that they already beat it. Uh-oh. No, there they are. So it would seem as if this gentleman is actually loyal to the Empire because he's helping you escape. But the truth of the matter is, I think there's some hidden items around here, but I don't remember where they are. The truth of the matter is he is affiliated... Sorry, Wedge and Biggs, Vix, whatever your name is. You're gone forever. The truth... Oh, treasure chest. The truth of the matter is he is actually... Oh, back attack. Sweet. Take some extra walloping. These guys are fairly weak at this point in the game. Well, I think the first time I played this game, I did get killed while just walking around the mines. Yeah, we definitely need to get some hasted abilities going on. And I don't have far to go anyways before we switch things up. The old man, wow, this guy's taking quite the walloping for an early stage enemy. The old man is part of the Returners, an organization that is fighting against the Empire, of which this town, Narsh, is not affiliated. So he's not working with the Empire. He just doesn't want to give up his sweet find to an unaffiliated organization. Were-rats. Yeah, we're basically just going over one screen before things change up again. And I'm pretty sure my health will hold out until then. Ooh, secret door over there, but I can't open it from this way. I'm gonna get it on the way back. No, it doesn't really matter anyways. Terra's got a healing spell and at least enough magic to keep herself afloat before we get out of this cave. Yeah, see, the back attack, you do less damage when you back attack too. I could have changed her... Final Fantasy kind of loosely... oh no, they're gonna get me. Oh, thank God, I fell through this horrible hole in the floor. And landed on my head, I'm assuming. Oh, poor Terra. It's alright. Everything works out in the end for her, more or less. Oh, here he is. The man himself, Kefka. Everybody's favorite Final Fantasy villain. Well, I know some people like Sephiroth better, but Kefka is the preferred choice. Yeah, he put the slave crown on her. So these are Imperial soldiers that she's blasting. Which, again, why is Kefka having you murder the Empire's own people? I assume it's just because he's a horrible, crazy person, and he just wanted to test out her abilities, and his own soldiers were the closest thing. So, it sucks to be one of Kefka's subordinates. It absolutely does. Geshtal is the Emperor himself. So you're seeing a few important figures in the background there. You've got Kefka, General Leo, Celes, and there's Terra. These people all play pretty significant portions in the story, particularly Kefka and Celes. Oops. So he's got everybody just praising his grandeur. Must be nice. Must be nice. Oh, she's dead. Who's this mysterious stranger? Apparently some kind of bandito. He's shocked. Shocked that he's the protagonist in this game. He is Locke. That's what we're going to be calling him. His rascally finger wave. I think I didn't quite get this when I was a kid, but I think he momentarily thinks that the old man is trying to set him up with somebody until he realizes that no, he needs you to go rescue this former enemy, amnesiac enemy character that's now down in the mine. Yeah, so here it is. He's saying that he wants Narsh to join the returners. And he hopes this Terra does as well. Alright, so this is our plan now. Locke has to go rescue Terra, and then we're off to meet the King of Figaro. That didn't take long. Uh-oh. No good. Now Locke just has to massacre his way through all of these. Up, or not. That's right. They might have beastmen, but we get these little teddy bear looking guys. Time to gang up and kick some ass. You bet I will. No, I'm good, although I don't quite remember the controls for this. Okay, yeah, so we've got these three parties. And we need to just go clear out all of these enemies. Now, normally you can kind of like, you set up this whole, like, you can like block the choke points and stuff and you turn it into this real strategic battle, but there's only like 5 of these guys. I mean, they're gonna hit us pretty hard, but we've got several parties. We should be able to easily overpower these few. That's all I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna burn through everyone's health, just taking out these monsters, and yeah, I was hoping I could get him before he got a shot off. The only ones that really matter are these mammoth things, because their blizzard spell can do quite a bit of damage. I mean, it hits significantly harder than all of these other ones. Alright, so definitely a few of these Mughals are going to die if we try to fight anymore, so we'll just stick them at the choke point. Oops, that's not what I wanted. And we'll switch to which one? There's one. Okay. This party has a Mughal in it named Mog, who is important for later. But we want him to get in at least one fight. Wolves don't have tusks, you fool. Yeah, you notice Mog hits considerably harder. Ah, mastered a new dance. That is important. But yeah, Mog hits a lot harder than these other guys. We'll need that for later. And you see his status bar. Whoops. The status bar moves a bit faster too, because he's level 11, where these other clowns are like, what, 5 or 6, I think? Oh yeah, 3. Alright, we don't want Locke to get killed, so we're going to send this guy down to just polish off the rest of these. Yeah, so this is like this little strategic battle thing. I think there are 2 of these in the entire game. Whoop. Yeah, these guys are packing all kinds of weird equipment. Yeah, so there's like 2 of these strategic battles. There are a few other sections of the game, though, where you do have to create multiple parties and swap people off. So they're just kind of familiarizing you. Wow, he hit it pretty hard, too. I think that's everybody except for the boss. So they're just kind of familiarizing the player with the multi-party setup. Okay, we're going to take the boss with Mog because he's way higher level than everybody else. So one other neat little thing. So you can look at everybody's equipment this way, and all the Moogles have different gear on them. If you try to unequip them, though, it won't let you, except for Mog, because he is important later. Now, it might seem stupid that I'm taking his gear off when I'm about to go fight a boss, but he will not be using his lance, and there is somebody else later who will need that. Alright. We're going to have Mog do that dance that we learned, which was important. That was useless. So when Mog dances, you lose control of him, and he just kind of acts on his own accord. But some of his dance moves are... Whoa, okay. Well, now we're going to die here from this. Some of his dance moves are very, very powerful, and a number of them are actually instant kills, so... Yeah, as you can see, that dance did quite a bit. We polished this guy off, although we did almost lose Mog. Sorry, Mog. Yeah, Mog will come back later. His dance moves, he can learn a different dance for every terrain in the game. You do lose control of him, but at least in the early stages of the game, the dances are very, very, very powerful. So he's actually a very useful character for the early portions of the game. By the later stages of the game, the randomness starts to become something of a problem, and you're better off doing some other things with Mog. But at least for early on, the dances are pretty overpowered and useful. Terra regained consciousness. Locke is humble. And Terra is amnesic. That's what they all say. Locke is very enthusiastic about his support of Terra, which you learn... it's a lot of exclamation points, dude. You're creeping her out. The secret entrance. Hint, hint. Don't forget this is there. Yeah, Terra's a little confused by Locke's overbearing nature, but you learn later that he has a reason for his enthusiasm. So now we're out. We're back in control of Terra and Locke. Gonna give him that shield that I just took from Mog. And we'll just hold on to that spear for now. Somebody else will need that. Okay, this is the little tutorial house, which I'm going to ignore all the tutorial stuff, but there's a few treasure chests in here that I do want to take. Oh, get out of the way, damn it. Oh no, it's a monster. Yeah, Final Fantasy VI does have... They're not really mimics, they're just treasure chests that have monsters in them instead. They're trap chests. You bastard, how dare you. That's useful. Save point. Also useful. There's a few items in here that are vaguely useful later, so we're going to clean that out before we move on. Sleeping bags are kind of useless, but it's free. 5-finger discount. Tonic. I thought there was more in here, but that's fine. Alright, we're heading off to meet the King of Figaro. You can actually try to go back into the city like an idiot, and they throw you out like you're some kind of vagabond. You can save on the world map too. We've got our Mode 7 world map. Just head south to the desert. Just checking everybody's status. Oh, attacked in the woods. Yeah, it's not until you get out of Figaro that you're actually in any potential danger of getting killed. Unless you just wander around fighting monsters until you run out of hit points. We made it. Thank God. Oh, it's you. It's well known. So this is excuse me, Figaro Castle. You can try to go down here. It doesn't let you. It's actually a dungeon much later in the game is down there. It's the prison. Alright, let's just head up here. Get the show on the road. So Figaro Castle is the stereotypical, technologically advanced. Oh, we're gonna just take this guy's treasure chest. He doesn't care. He's fine. He's chill. Figaro is the technologically advanced city of the game. Might not look like it, but it is. Oh, 2 treasure chests that we can loot. Thank you, sir, for your generosity. So these things are Edgar's tools, Edgar being the King of Figaro, who we'll be meeting shortly. Spoilers, he is a playable character as well. And there he is. Yeah, so that also is a little unclear, but he's basically just scoping Terra out like a real creepy pervert. I believe in the North American localization they toned down Edgar's creepiness a little bit. Yeah, they don't actually. It's funny. They refer to him as the King of Figaro until until you actually meet him, because you get to name him. No, and that's that. So much for standing by you. I don't know why you would say that unprompted, but... yeah, there he goes. Terra is impervious to Edgar's creepy cleanliness. Well, now we're back in control of just Terra. Trying to remember, I think we just gotta go find Locke again. A few treasure chests kicking around. Yeah, the early stages of this game are very much on rails, which is kind of the trend with the Super Nintendo Final Fantasies. Oh, when things up, we can now. Everyone keeps very conspicuously mentioning that the Emperor and the Empire and Figaro are allies. Almost like they're trying to convince someone. Oh, there they are, Chocobos. Classic Final Fantasy creature. They don't really factor into this game all that much. Uh-oh. Talk to an old lady, so now we're getting a story. Ugh. Who's this buff individual? Trying to talk to Edgar, but Edgar won't respond. Sabin, who will become important shortly. Ew, that's pretty gross, Edgar. That's definitely a little girl. So occasionally this game, when it does get complaints, which is not often, but occasionally people will say, oh, there's too many characters in this game. Because unlike all of the other Final Fantasies, this is kind of an ensemble cast. You spend the early chunk of the game with Terra, but even then, you swap off to other characters pretty regularly, and you can finish the game without Terra in your party or even on your team anymore. So, I think I gotta go back and talk to Edgar again. I usually kind of rush through the opening portions of this game, so... but yeah, there's something like 14 playable characters or something like that. And it's true, not all of them get a ton of screen time, and but I think they all get enough. They're all fleshed out. You kind of get what each of their vibes is. And they each have their own little story arc, with the exception of the two. Oh, who's this fancy-dressed fellow? Get out of the way. With the exception of the two secret characters, I feel like they all get a fair amount of screen time. Oh, we're back to talking to Edgar. Oh, that sour face, you know what that means. There he is again. It's Kefka. His creepy laugh, which sounds like nothing, but was pretty exciting in those early days of the Super Nintendo. So yeah, right off the bat, you get the impression that Kefka is kind of a malicious jerk who enjoys bullying people that are weaker than him. Yeah, and now we're in control of Edgar. You know what that means. Time to equip that awesome spear I just found that doubles his battle power. Although in reality, we're not really going to need this spear much at all. Edgar has more... Edgar has more pressing concerns. So Kefka is looking for Terra. So Kefka's theme is one of the more memorable tunes in this game, and it kind of is a little bit reminiscent of Dr. What's his name? Dr. Lugay's theme, or the theme that they use for the Calcabrinas, I think they're called, in Final Fantasy IV. This sort of like creepy waltz. And it's a very the piece is very reflective of Kefka's personality, which is kind of goofy sounding, but with an edge to it. Edgar expressing his lustiness. That certainly wasn't a threat. Well, now Kefka's gone. Back with Terra, just follow and lock. Yeah, the way this early stages of the game jump around from character to character can be a little bit jarring, I suppose. But it eventually will settle down. It's a nice thing to say to the guy that rescued you. Yeah, everybody's secretly the returners. Final Fantasy gets compared to Star Wars a lot. 6 is definitely the one that's got the strong, well, with maybe the exception of 12 nowadays. 6 is definitely the one with the strongest connections. Oh, Terra, try to keep up. Oh, Terra's sad. Creepy Empire music. Something's up. Oh no. No, everything's on fire. Somebody forgot to turn off the space heater again. The old Beavis and Butthead reference. You can tell this game came out in the early 90s. Kefka just enjoys setting things alight. Oh! So now you get to see the technology of Figaro Castle. And a little less exciting now, since in later Final Fantasies there's castles that turn into giant robots and fight other giant monsters. But at the time it was kind of cool, burrowing into the sand. There's Kefka, flat on his back like an idiot. Yep. There's two lackeys moving in for the kill. So this is sort of a boss fight. And the back attack aspect doesn't help it. Ooh, that hit pretty hard. It's really just an excuse to have this little scene play out. So you can miss this. This happens the first time Terra uses magics in battle. So if you never use magic with Terra until later in the game, presumably this never happens. Yeah. So in the world of Final Fantasy VI, magic doesn't exist. That's why it's weird that Terra has access to it. And Terra gets all embarrassed. It is a little weird that they basically stop this boss fight cold, so you can have a little chat about magic. The warm and fuzzy tolerance speech. Yep, and that's that. Not much to that fight. The only real danger being that you're back attacked, so you take some extra damage. Now we're cheesing it as Kefka flips out. Yeah, so the early stages of the game. Oh, you jackass. No human. Guess you're some weird freak person. Yeah, the early stages of the game all kind of revolve around the fact that Terra has magic powers and nobody else does, and they're the returners, the rebellion, are hoping to have her join them to fight back against the Empire. That's a little melodramatic. So this is usually the only time I ever... Yeah, you ride the Chocobo and you get some neat Mode 7 graphics. This is usually the only time I ever ride a Chocobo in Final Fantasy VI. Like in all the Final Fantasies, you can't get attacked when you're riding a Chocobo, so... Oops. There we go. Pop a save. And actually, even though he's the strongest character, I'm going to pop Edgar into the back row because I won't be having him make attacks. So yeah, like all the other 16-bit Final Fantasies, and I think most of the other ones too, you have a front row and a back row. Characters in the front row deal full damage but take full damage. Characters in the back row deal half damage and take half damage, basically. So normally you want your fighters in front and your softer, squishier characters in the back. Edgar is a pretty sturdy character, but since he's not going to be doing melee attacks, he's got his tools. I'll be doing that, so there's no sense in him taking full damage when it doesn't matter. Yeah, so I've been neglecting to talk about my characters. So Terra is... Oh, right. Whoops. So Terra can use magic. Locke is a thief or treasure hunter, so he can use the steal command. I guess he didn't start with his other tools. Whoops. Oh wow, those guys actually survived an auto crossbow attack. Let me scooch him back to the front and see if that makes a difference. So Locke is a thief, so he has the steal command, and back attack. Edgar is, even though he's the king, he is technically an engineer, so he can use tools, which in this game, at least again in the early stages of the game, are... Oh, Terra learned a spell, Antidote. It's kind of useful. In the early stages of the game are great because they hit pretty hard. They don't cost any MP. They're not expendable, so you can just keep using them till you run out. I'm sorry, keep using them and you never run out. So they're very good for crowd control. I'm pretty sure that's actually why there's so many monsters in this early... Yeah, I'm moving him back. It doesn't make any difference. That's why there's so many monsters in the encounters in this cave, because you kind of need Edgar to do crowd control, because if it was just Locke and Terra kind of chipping away at them, things would be kind of tricky. Just having Locke steal for no real reason, just get some extra items in this early stage of the game where they matter. Yeah, Locke's steal command is not incredibly useful for most of the game, but there's a few specific points where you can only get items... Oop, shoot, that was dumb. Where you can only get certain items by stealing them, in which case he's kind of vital. Normally I would have Locke be doing some kind of fighting or something, but since Edgar's just going to wipe out everybody in one shot anyways, I can have Locke muck around and just steal things. If I remember correctly, I actually probably don't want to be taking all of these treasure chests, because I think if I take them when I come back through here later on, they're better items, but I don't remember, and I don't really care. So it doesn't really matter. They're not anything vital. Yeah, like I said, it's pretty tough to get killed in these early stages of the game. Yeah, this cave you cut through a few different times. And each time it gets progressively more difficult. Yeah, no, not exactly, but kinda. Yeah, early stages of the game, Edgar's tools are where it's at. Kind of like Mog's dances, though. They since they're a little bit more of like a flat damage. Save. They start to become a little less effective later on when you get some really beefy. Oh, look at that. The early Final Fantasy games were responsible for many people developing OCD, as you got to check all the buckets and crates and things to make sure you don't miss any items. None of these really matter that much, but in the early stages of the game, when you're short on resources, they actually are kind of useful. Mount Colts. Too fast. Oh boy, another tutorial. Yeah, so this game, along with your equipment, you can also equip two relics, which give you certain extra abilities, like Mog just explained. Now, the sprint shoes are kind of useful, but I don't really feel like spending... No, you know what? This is a Let's Play. I'm going to buy a pair of sprint shoes to... You don't have to see me trudging along. Oops. Whee! Alright, there we go. That'll hasten things a bit. Well, hello there. One of the better tracks in the game. Guy at the counter, he's kind of creepy. You could probably say that about most... You could say that as soon as you walk into just about any bar, and I bet you'd be right most of the time. This fellow looks interesting. Oh, that's right. He's another party member. Comes and goes like the wind. The somewhat on-the-nose named Shadow the Ninja. It's pretty cold, bro. Slit your mama's throat for a nickel. Yeah, Shadow pretty much just spends most of the game acting like a jerk. You can pay him to join your party, although he will sometimes then just leave apropos of nothing. Oh, it's the cider man. Get out of the way. Oh yeah, this is more stuff that's sort of worth remembering for later when you come back through here. Oh, actually, I think... nope. Misremembering. Yeah. So he'll just, like, up and leave sometimes. I've had times where I've hired him and then he left at the very next battle. So he's kind of useless until you get to the point in the game where he will definitely stay with you. At which point, he's a pretty decent fighter. We'll talk more about Shadow maybe next time when he joins the party in a more... can I do this part yet? I can. Sneaky secret passage. Sneaky secret passage. That's as far as I can go now. Yeah, we'll talk more about him when he officially joins the party a little while later. As of right now, we're looting stuff. Oh, what's this? So this guy's the richest man in town, and as you... Nasty draft. Somebody's got to get to caulking up their windows. Whee! Secret passage, secret passage. This guy's the richest man in town, and as you may have noticed, he was writing a letter betraying the city to the Empire. So there's just a little bit of... save point. There's just a little bit of... class conflict there. Nice. Clock, you know what that... Oh, this one's actually running. Whoops. Grab up all the freebie items. Wow, look at all this money. Glad I spent money on those sprint shoes. It's not ticking. No good. So yeah, a little bit of editorializing on class and wealth and privilege there. Unfortunately, we can't warn anybody about it, so whoops. Yeah. There's some more stuff. So General Leo is one of the Empire's generals, so the fact that he's dining with him might be problematic. Alright. Don't want to waste too much time here, but I want to grab up all the freebie items. Thanks, buddy. I want to grab up all the freebie items and buy some better equipment, especially for Tara, because she is packing garbage. Warpstone. Never used those. Yeah, the beginning of this game is a little bit of a... oh, wow, that one didn't have an elixir in it. Is a little bit of a tease in that you're sort of supposed to remember some of the things that you encounter, because later they come up. You have to come back through here, and oh, there's the cider guy. He's off work. Time to hit the bars. Wow, they're all hitting the bars. You're kind of supposed to remember some of this stuff, so you come back in, and there's like... it helps you navigate things a little bit easier. Oops. There's that asshole. Okay. Oh, thanks, lady. Just dropping some brags there. Which I should probably stay at the end since Terra took a little bit of a beating. But let me grab my gear. Gotta buy a few things, stock up. Regal Cutlass. Oh, and there's Edgar's two other weapon tools, which we probably won't really use, but they can be kind of useful. Grab one of those for Terra, and one of those for Locke. And let's get some other gear. Heavy shield. Oops, I need more. I feel like plumed hats are, in this game, are like the longest running piece of gear in the game. I'm just optimizing. Normally I would equip them one by one, but at this point it doesn't really matter. You keep using plumed hats for quite a while. Let's hit the end and then get the hell out of here. Yeah, I might not need it, but going to the next part, full health, is probably smart. Cut through the bar again to hear those sweet tunes. Shadow definitely does have one of the best themes in the game. Alright, well that's pretty much it. I don't think there's anything else too exciting kicking around here. Skulk around the outskirts of town. Alright. So we're ready to head to Mount Colts for a family reunion. But I think that's pretty good for today. That went for quite a while. Yeah, we'll come back. We'll do this again. Maybe we'll go through the whole game. Who knows? So until then, I will see you all later. I've been Mike as always, and have a great week.